we have a president, isn't it?
No, we don't.
We do have a president.
No, you have a president. I don't have a president.
What do you mean? You are a citizen of Nigeria and you reside here.
I'm a citizen of Nigeria. I reside here, but we have an illegitimate president, someone who rigged his way into office. It's like if there's a military coup, are you going to sit down and accept that, oh, you have a president because someone, there was a military coup?
Aisha Yusufu, thank you so much indeed for joining us on the Micron podcast.
Thank you for having me, Sheung. But let me just say I'm not an activist. I am an active citizen. There's a difference. But I'm a trader at the same market.
It's good to have you.
Thank you.
I'm not sure that you are one of us who is experiencing the biting situation of the fuel price. It looks like you are permanently on CNG or you are
CNG. Do I want to die early? That thing is death trap. With all the things that we are saying, that it's not as safe as it's supposed to be.
Have those videos been confirmed though?
No, but there are a lot of this thing out there, like the messaging that it's not as safe as they are making it out to be. And so we need to look at, in terms of trying to cut costs, what is the implication. But let me tell you something. I'm actually not one of you that is feeling the bite, because I have a husband who takes care of me and ensures I have a full tank.
So you voted and you work for Peter Obi. Mm-hmm. And you are one of those who won against Bola TINUBU. But now you're one of those who are saying, oh, yeah, you got what you deserve. Those who voted. But either you voted or you did not vote. We have a president, isn't it?
No, we don't.
We do have a president.
No, you have a president. I don't have a president.
What do you mean? You are a citizen of Nigeria and you reside here.
I'm a citizen of Nigeria. I reside here, but we have an illegitimate president, someone who rigged his way into office. It's like if there's a military coup, are you going to sit down and accept that, oh, you have a president because someone, there was a military coup?
But
this is a political coup.
You cannot say that because you do not have evidence.
Aisha Yusufu can and have said that Nigeria does not have a president. What we have is someone who rigged his way into office, who is illegitimately occupying his office.
The court does not agree with your position.
The court that has been captured can do whatever it wants to do, and that's why there's no respect for it. And that's why you have governors, coming out to thank a TINUBU when the judgment goes their way. So the fact that we have a captured judiciary and whatever, Aisha Yusufu, and I say it without mincing word, I don't put water for my mouth, there's no precedent in Nigeria.
There's a president, Bola TINUBU, factually.
The former governor of Lagos State, Bola Ahmed TINUBU, yes, is illegitimately occupying an office he shouldn't. And I've said it. You have your opinion, should I have my own? So why does he have to?
No, there is a fact. There's a fact. There is an opinion.
No, then go ahead with your own fact. This is mine. This is my reality, and I'm telling you, Nigeria doesn't have.
Why is it difficult for you to accept that?
Why should I accept
in the next 4 years?
It's no. Hold on, Sheung. Someone comes to my house, steals my car, take it away, repaints it, and you're telling me that I have to accept it because it's been repainted and you have gotten papers for it.
You cannot prove that.
The proven or not the proven, that's not the point. This is what I'm saying to you, Sheung. This is Aisha telling you that Nigeria does not have a president. If you, Sheung, believes that Nigeria has a president, go ahead. Who is stopping you?
In this situation that we're in now, and I see the effort that you have made, you're one of those who went to Edo State. Mm-hmm. You campaigned for Olumide Akpata, and there are those who have in fact mocked you and said, let Aisha go to her village and ward and polling unit and let us see how she can test whether or not she's got the popularity. There are those who will say Aisha lost her polling unit, Aisha lost her ward, Aisha lost her local government. This is all not, she's not on the ground, and that's what politics is all about.
Well, the first thing I'm going to say to them is how much are they buying dollars? How much are they buying the fuel? You just realize the prices of fuel are everywhere. And it's very comical when people think that politics is about testing popularity. It's not about testing popularity. It's about the lives of the people that are going to be governed. By the way, if we come back down to it, is the fact that I live in Abuja and I vote in Abuja. And I was very surprised. And I can tell you that there is nothing that APC supporters or PDP supporters cannot do, which is they manufactured a polling unit that I am from, what's this place again? Okbila. Well, I take it that if they feel that that's my polling unit, and I think they said 4 in my polling unit, but one of the things they don't realize is the fact that in 2019, I'm a person of conviction. I'm not interested in who wins or who doesn't win. I'm going to go with the candidate that I feel is the best. In 2019, I was the only person who voted for my candidate, Dr. Obi Ezekwesili, in my polling unit. And I stayed to 2 a.m. to defend that unit. And the following morning, I think around 10, or is it 10 or 12, I went down to the collation center to ensure that my vote was counted in. I'm a citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And when I put my finger up, they no born INEC for them to change that particular, whatever it is. They no born any talk or whatever it is to change it. And I've done my bit. And that particular one vote was counted. And I left that place with my head held high. It's not about, my candidate has to win. Or if my candidate doesn't, your own one. No, it's about what is that candidate going to give to Nigeria? And I tell you something. For me, I have said this repeatedly, and I'm going to repeat it here to start that. The 2023 election, if it's not about the outcome, it's about the process. If the process was free, fair, and credible, there was nothing to do with IREV and whatever, and the result came out the way the result is today, then everybody has to accept it. Whoever is voted in, if Nigeria decide to vote a goat as president, we always call that person the president. But when someone isn't voted for and the people rig their way in there, we must get to a place whereby political coup is taken the same way as military coup. We cannot have people come in, subvert the system. The result must not justify the means. No, it doesn't, because that's what we just had in Edo State.
So if you say the election in 2023 was rigged, so the candidates you worked for, were those votes also rigged in his favor?
No, it wasn't.
So,
and I will tell you how it goes.
So the vote for Peter Obi was legitimate, but the ones in the same breath for the other candidate, Atiku and Tinubu, were rigged. Is that your position?
So let me tell you, there were some rigging. Let me correct that. In Lagos, the margin with which he won was way more than what he was given. In Jos, in Plateau State, the same thing. We have been with a lot of those places. And let me tell you, it's not about whether I worked for or I did not work for. There's nothing like work for. I don't work for anyone. I work with people. And by the grace of God, I'm not going to work for anyone. I'll work with you, not for you.
So you didn't work with Peter? I mean, I
worked with him.
You didn't work
for him.
So you didn't get paid for what?
Why should I get paid? Who the heck has the money to pay me?
No, people get paid for working in the president. Even in the US, people
can. I have a big mouth, physically and figuratively, and I love to use my big mouth. And so because of that, I don't collect no dime from nobody. My NGO, I use my money. Every this thing I've been part of, movement or whatever, I spend my own money. I don't touch nobody's money.
Because the question, there are issues being raised about the campaign funding.
We'll get to that.
Because there are those even pointing accusing finger that some of you have not been transparent enough into the funds that were put into your hands in that campaign.
People have said
so that. When you say you did not benefit at all, there are those who will be in the corner and be laughing and say, "Oh, Aisha,
they
please."
can laugh, and you know what? And that's why I have a very huge mouth. And I say to them, "Come out anywhere that Aisha has done anything of wrongdoing, bring it out." More Aisha Yusufu, I will call myself out. You know what they call process? One of the things that Nigerians don't understand is this thing about people standing and following the due process. And that's exactly what I did. Before we get there, let me go back to what I was saying to you, Sheun. On the issue of the fact that there was no transparency, IREV on the day of election, let's not forget February 25th, all of a sudden it didn't work. There were 3 elections on a particular day, and it didn't work for one of them, which was the presidency. Every result could be put in for the same place, the same time, everything for House of Representatives, for Senate, and all of that. And then you came to presidency, it wasn't working. You've seen what Rivers State have continuously said right now, where with the accusations going on, with the fight between Wike and Fubara going on, the people who helped in rigging that election coming out to say, this is what they do. Haven't you seen any of those videos? They've come out to say, this is how they rigged the election. For me, the issue is not whether who becomes the president, right? If Nigerians had actually voted for the former governor of Lagos, Bola Ahmed TINUBU, and he got there, well, you say that's what the people's choice is all about, and that's the beauty of democracy. People do whatever it is that their choice is their choice, and their vote to do that. But that wasn't what they did. There was a rigging, and we have a situation here that should worry every one of us. The fact that the burden of proof is not on INEC, that is conducting. And you've seen people who have taken us back. Our democracy has gone back to pre-Yaradua days with all the things. Having said that, coming back to the campaign funds.
Just a moment before you go there. Okay. So are you suggesting that we should amend our laws such that the burden of proof will now be on INEC?
Absolutely. You conduct election. You were given the monies to do it. How come you're not the one? And you said the election you conducted was free, fair, and credible. Why is the burden of proof on the person who is saying that it isn't? You should come and show Nigerians, INEC should come and show Nigerians at every particular time that the money that was invested in them, everything that was given to them, and the constitutional duty, responsibility given to them to conduct a free, fair, and credible election, that they have done it. We have situations right now where even when INEC is called upon to bring materials, they don't bring it and they get away with it. Why are we having all of this? We have situations whereby the courts that has been captured, the judiciary is a joke. Nigerian judiciary is a joke.
Is that fair?
Joke. It's more than fair.
Because there are those
when it comes to corruption,
who are upright in the judiciary,
yes,
and when they hear this, and having the same brush to paint
there's
everyone.
Something that surprises me a lot. Amongst my biggest fans and supporters, they are actually from the security and the judiciary. I'm always shocked because a good number of our judicial officials, they have been captured. They have been oppressed and suppressed. They can't. Only a few corrupt ones are heading everything and standing out there. You need to see what our judges are going to, even those that are at the top echelon of all this of the judiciary. So people are going to. So when we talk about capture, there are a lot of them who can't say because of their job and everything. And when we speak out their minds. I've met them who have said, yes, what you're saying is so. When I say it's corrupt, it's not even about me. What is this now? I think Nigerian is the judiciary has been captured as the most corrupt. Is it Transparency? No, Transparency International, whatever it is, within when you talk about the bribery index something. Yeah, so Nigerian judiciary is there. So when I don't just speak because I want to talk, I speak on the reality that we have on ground. You see now people are going about, buying judgment. All sorts of judgments are out of there. To the extent recently we saw with the Rivers State local government election, where a court is saying to the police that they should not do the thing that they are constitutionally constituted to do. Don't provide security. In what world is that okay? Or where they say that INEC should not give register for them to conduct the local government election. We are sitting down here. We are watching our countries being desecrated. And all we're concerned about is what looks nice. Sure, we should go beyond that. In the next 50 years or 100 years, you and I will not be here. And then what do the generation that are going to come after us, how are they going to see what we did with the Nigeria that we have today for them to have a better Nigeria than we did? Those are the questions that should worry us, not optics.
Because our laws and in the common law system, it says that he who alleges must prove. It means that if you say that the election was rigged, you have. So when you are asking that our law now should be tweaked in such a way that the onus of proof should fall on INEC, how realistic do you think that will be?
Very realistic. Because at the end of the day, the whole evidence for election is with INEC. Our laws, yes.
Are you saying it's difficult for one to prove that the election was rigged?
No, hold on. It is because it depends on whatever the court is going to say. You can bring in the evidence. The court says to you, I'm not going to accept this evidence. Or it depends, even with the evidence that comes before the court decides what is going to accept and what is not going to accept at the end of the day. And sometimes people, hands are tied. Let me give you an example. If you're talking about, we have had countries, even with the US, where they will ask for a recount, a physical recount. First of all, INEC has the resources and everything to have all the result sheets. So if there's a problem that says this particular place, the result sheet is different, or like what we are having now, the registered and the accredited voters, the votes are now more than accredited voters. All you need to do is INEC bring all the materials which you're supposed to have, and let's have a recount. Since we've been doing election, have we had a situation whereby the court said, let's sit down and do a recount? And bring this.
Do you think we can digitally conduct our election? Such that the level of interface, human interaction with because that is where corruption usually comes. When you have too much of human interaction with the process.
See, the thing, even with the digital, if they want to corrupt it, they will corrupt it. One of the things that we must do is not that we keep looking at, another method will be better. The one that we have right now, can we do it and make it work? And I said this to you, and that's why I said the burden of proof should be with INEC. INEC conducts election. INEC has all the result sheets. right? They have the result sheets with them. And they're not supposed to destroy this result sheet. So if we have a problem with certain areas and say, these places, the results are this, what will it take for the court to say to INEC, bring every of those results? If it's going to take us 1 week to recount every, let's say, a presidential election, let's sit down and physically recount it on live TV. We are talking about our nation here. This is not, we have reached lower than ground zero. This is not where we'll sit down and be thinking about, oh, what looks pretty. People are dying. We are talking about people's lives here. So INEC can do that. It's not to first of all thinking that, oh, is it digital or not digital? Because if the same people, we do things about digital. Yeah. We've seen since let me look at 2015. We've had amendment of the Electoral Act. And fantastic. Jonathan did an amendment, brought in the card reader. What do we have? The judiciary insisted, Supreme Court said that the card reader was not admissible in the court. It took us back. We saw Buhari. As bad as Buhari is, the most failed leader then, before the former governor of Lagos State, Bola Ahmed TINUBU, decided to illegitimately climb office. And this is Aisha Yusufu speaking her mind. It's not you. If FCC have any issue, they should come and meet me. My house is not far from there.
You're not afraid
of what would they do?
To be put behind bars for your statement that might be regarded as illegal and unlawful.
They either put me behind bars or they put a bullet through my head. There's nothing that they're going to do that hasn't been done before. You understand? Terrorists are killing people out there. What are they going to do? Put me behind bars? Please feel free. When I'm behind bars, guess what? I'll be safer than you are. Because I have people protecting me. Every one of us in our houses, we are not safe. In Abuja, they are going to people's houses and carrying them. Terrorists are going inside people's houses and carrying them. So I'll be afraid that someone is going to lock me. So please bring it on.
Let me ask you something quickly. Are you worried about your political stance recently? You supported Obi Ezekwesili. Mm-hmm. She lost. You supported Peter Obi. He came distant third. You went to Edo State. You supported Olumide Akwata. He came a distant third also. With the benefit of hindsight, all these gap in performance of those whom you have supported, that those who are saying, is it possible for you to rethink your support when it comes to election and probably stay on the side that can also win election and probably actually build structure? Because political structure also win election, don't you think?
So in 2019, I supported competence, character, capacity. And Nigerians decided that they were going to not follow the best candidate and do whatever they do. Fine, it's a choice. In 2023, I also supported competence, character, capacity. And Nigerians did vote for him. But then there was a rigging that happened. In Akpata's case, I also supported competence, character, capacity. And Nigerians decided that okay, in that case, there's also rigging that had gone on, even though the higher ones, some sold their votes, some did this thing.
So you thought that the election in Edo State was rigged too?
Absolutely. Hold on, Shehu. Let me finish what you have asked me, because it's very crucial. The question that you've asked is the myopic mentality of a lot of Nigerians. The election has to be who wins. That's why you see people in the morning, they will be in one party, in the evening, they will be in another party, and they go to another party, because all they want, they will rather support corruption, they will support structure of criminality, for them to say that they are on the winning side. I don't want to be on the winning side. I want to be on the side of competence, character, capacity, that when Nigerians decide to have sense and allow them to go in, we work for them and give them good governance, accountability, and transparency. So election is not just about winning. It's about ensuring the right person get into office. If you
see these attributes in the APC or PDP, would you support them?
If there's someone who is there, absolutely, why not? I've always said this. Let me tell you something. It's not about the party. It's about candidates.
So you're not a member of a Labour Party?
I'm not a member of a Labour Party.
But you are obedient.
I've never been a card-carrying member of any party. And I think I need to change that. I'm still waiting. I've not gotten to a place where I want to do sacrifice, because leadership or whatever in that place there's a whole lot of sacrifice attached to it. When you say obedient, I'm a Peter Obi supporter. Even though when that word was coined, I was one of those persons who said that the only person that's going to be obedient is Peter Obi, because whoever is serving has to be obedient. So but by now, with the loose definition that anyone who supports Peter Obi is obedient, yes, so that makes me obedient. But I'm not obedient to anybody. And even though Mr. Peter Obi was a father, when you get to office by the grace of God as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, you are the one who is going to be obedient to the people and serve the people. And what we are looking for are people that are going to serve. And you know, there was something you made, there was a remark you made earlier on. Have you been paid? Have you know? Have not, because for me, I'm not hungry. You understand? I'm like, I heard someone who said that, school fees will not pay itself. There are a lot of people who come from that mentality that school fees will not pay itself. So they are forced to either go with who they think will win, no matter how corrupt they are or whatever. I'm not in that place. I'm a trader. I build houses, I sell houses. I started trading in the year 2000. I used to go to Dubai to buy things and come here to sell. I've never worked for anyone. I have a master's in pharmaceutical microbiology. I got that since 2007. I started my master's in 2000. Long story, the school, of course, you know what, Nigeria. I wanted to have my PhD before I was 30. So I don't need to work for anybody. I don't need to earn salary. I live my life. I'm financially independent. I was 40
thanks to Mr. Yusufu too.
Yeah, absolutely.
The man is doing a good job, isn't it?
That place, I'm absolutely.
We need to give him an award.
Absolutely, my husband. Oh my goodness, sweetheart, I love you. You know, I'm coming to that place where, for me, I worked on my financial independence before I started speaking on.
So you're an independent woman.
I'm a financially independent woman. I've been before I was 40. I grew up poor, where I would go to school in the morning without breakfast. Coming back home, I wasn't expecting lunch, and I saw how, because you are poor, you are.
So you were born in poverty.
I wasn't born in poverty. My father lost everything, and we became extremely poor. Within a twinkle of an eye, we lost everything. And I grew up in Kano, in a place called Kwanahodo, where it's deadly in a way that when other people hear we're from that place, they're afraid of us. Even up to today, you see, like the talks or whatever, I call it the Ajengule of Kano. And so saying that when you're
So you were from the slum?
I am. Wallahi, wallahi, tallahi,
wow.
Chow. I grew up in that place. And let me tell you something, Shehu. I saw where, because you're poor, you're faceless, nameless, and voiceless. And I grew up angry. And I didn't want to be faceless, nameless, and voiceless. So I didn't focus on Nigerian issue. Even though the first protest I did was in 1992, in my first year, my first semester in the university. I didn't talk on Nigerian issue until my 40th birthday. And what happened? On my 40th birthday, I realized that I had become the problem of Nigeria by my silence. And I decided I was going to start speaking. 4 months after, Chibok girls were abducted, and I came out to speak. So when I talk, and I say this shit, when I dare anybody, living dead or alive, to say that I, Aisha Yusufu, have ever gone to your place to look for appointment, to look for contract, to look for whatever, I don't do it. I'm a trader. I buy, I sell, I distribute, I build houses, and I sell houses.
I'm not forgetting my thought, but I will ask you about the funding and the issue.
Absolutely.
But just before I go there, there are those who say, and Kenneth Okonkwo has said it, that look, 2023 is gone. But in 2027, Atiku, TINUBU, Peter Obi should step aside. Would you be supporting Peter Obi in 2027? Absolutely. Or you hold the view that they should step aside?
You know, what I found strange about that statement, and I remember we had a long conversation with Kenneth Okonkwo. I called him out, like, on what basis was Atiku, TINUBU, and Peter Obi put on the same
pedestal?
Yes, or used the same bench, a paint or brush used on them. It might have made sense to him, and he has a right to his own opinion. It doesn't to me. I don't see in what capacity would that happen. And for me, Peter Obi is one person whom I know has the love and care for people. He has empathy. He feels what happens to the citizens. And he's someone that I see who wants to have a legacy. That's something that is important to me. I'm not looking for someone who gets to office, who doesn't care, who all he's thinking about is how do I take more money, how do I buy a private, more presidential jets for myself, more yacht, more whatever for myself, rather than how do I ensure my name that in the next, 100 years, 200 years, when they're talking about Nigeria, it's me. And this is someone that I know has the courage to take on the issue. Some people think that courage is by, when you just come out and talk and you can say this. No, it's by putting yourself down there and saying those things that people are afraid to talk about. We know about oil theft. It's still going on in Nigeria. And there's one candidate who spoke about it repeatedly. And since after the election, it's almost as if nothing is being said about it. And you sit down with what he said about the oil cabal. This is someone who has the courage to stand and dare and go for it.
There are those who will ask you, what has he done? What did he do that in Anambra State? Has he shown capacity in the past life?
Let me finish my thought. You won't take we'll come to that. I'm here. Sure, if you want to do 10 hours, I'm not going anywhere. So calm down. Not the rush yourself. Not the respect yourself. You understand? You sit down with what he has said about the oil cabal that we have and what they're currently doing. You see a situation whereby Tompolo has even accused the Navy of being the one to connive with those who are stealing our oil. And nothing. And right now, as we are here, nobody is saying anything about that. Come back to courage. When you talk about courage and say that whether Peter Obi has done this in Anambra, say, yes, he did. You saw what he did with the Ubas family? What's this other one? There was a whole lot of like exactly what we have in Nigeria. There was a hold in Anambra State where people felt that there are certain people who control the state and nothing could be done about it. And he came on and he stood. He won the election. The election was rigged. He went to the courts, you understand, to ensure that the right thing was done. And he stood for so many years. And one of the things that he always talk about is sometimes when he goes to that court, he used to go alone. Whereas the other ones are coming with their shoebi, they're dancing, they're drumming, they're going on. He stayed on, you understand. That in itself is courage. One of the things, you've not asked, but I'm going to ask you, one of the things that people, have said is the fact that, after the 2023 election, he could have asked that people be on the street. People, for them, that is courage. That's not necessarily courage. This is someone who said, no, I'm going to follow the legal system and take it to the end. I believe in the Nigerian institution and I believe in the Nigeria and go with it. But there are people who feel that it's always about get people to be on the streets, get them to be out there, put them on in harm's way or fire's way or whatever. And Peter Obi has said, no, he is not going to do that. And I'll give you just a bit of an insight into what we're doing our campaign. During that whole campaign, there was a time when I think you saw P Square. Mm-hmm. They supported Peter Obi openly. They didn't deny, they didn't hide it. And they were supposed to perform at a particular... It took a lot. I remember I spent over 8 hours with lots of messages, giving him 1, 2, 3, I think about 9 or whatever reasons why they should be on it. And his fear was that he didn't want them to be... What's the word that is used now? To be victimized. Because he knows how the system works. There are a lot of people who want to support. Nigerians have been coward. To the extent you come out and support and then you become a victim. That's the kind of person that he is. And it takes a lot of courage for someone to see people who are ready to whatever, and a lot of responsibility. See people who are ready to say, we're going to do anything if you want us to stay. But he refused. And I see people coming out to call that means lack of courage because he had 6 million people.
Ms. Yusufu, if you see a better candidate than Peter Obi in 2027, would you support?
Absolutely. If there's a better candidate, I go with the better candidate. I'm not tied to anyone or anything. And I know that. And I can tell you something. Even Peter Obi himself, like he said, he's not desperate to be the president of Nigeria, but he's desperate to see Nigeria work. And he himself, there's a better candidate, he will support that candidate. It's about our country that we need to rescue. It's not about anyone occupying an office. There's an influence that Peter Obi has that TINUBU cannot even dream about. You understand? Even though he's illegitimately occupying that office, he can't dream about it. And so this influence that comes from the legitimacy from the people, the love from the people, you don't need to be in office to have a name or be influential.
There are those who ask, what would you do differently? Exactly, because the same thing, the same program, the similar ideas that Peter Obi said he has. What of the things that Bola Tinubu has been implementing?
Let me tell you something. And I'm staking my name on it. Aisha Yusufu, that's my name, my reputation. The fact that Peter Obi, as a president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, will not go and be buying presidential jet while people are suffering. Will definitely not go and be changing his car while people are suffering. Will not be buying a yacht. Will not be using 21 billion to build a house for his, deputy vice president. Will not be wasting those money. He will cut the cost of governance. So please, let's drop that. When we talk about subsidy removal, yes, Peter Obi did say he was going to remove subsidy by 50%, and then with the other things he talked about, that he didn't say he was going to come out on the day of his inauguration to make a reckless statement without anything in place, without putting things in place. So if Nigerians want to live in fool's paradise, let's live in fool's paradise, but let's not kid nobody, especially ourselves, and say that, they would have done the same thing. There is nothing like the same thing being done out of there. And there's no way Mr. Peter Obi will give a contract to his friend without any public bidding for that, contract, without going through due process of 15 trillion, naira. And then I'm talking about the Lagos Calabar Coastal Road, and then go about destroying businesses worth billions of naira just to support, some whatever thing that he wants to support there. And there's no how that a Peter Obi will sit down and dare to change our national anthem just because he feels like it and go out there there.
Did he change it?
Hold on.
It was the National Assembly that did it.
No. Yes, that's what I'm saying. And go through with and come and say, yeah, and you remind me now, the National Assembly is captured, right? And it's the captured is not being used for the good of Nigeria. And go ahead.
Who captured the National Assembly?
And get it changed. There's no way he is going to do that, because he said during a campaign that he was going to change the national anthem. It gets better than the other one. The person who captured the National Assembly as of this moment is the former governor of Lagos State, Bola Ahmed TINUBU.
How did he do that? Do you have evidence?
By having them in their pocket. I don't have evidence, but what's the name of your Senate president? Akpabio has
our Senate president. Nigerian Senate president.
Yeah, Nigerian Senate president. Akpabio has evidence, and I've said it several times that he's going to do what the president has said once. So that's your evidence, right there.
You think the Senate and the National Assembly is a rubber stamp of the executive?
It's not a rubber stamp. It's worse than a rubber stamp. The rubber stamp was what we had during Ahmed Lawan, and you could still see a bit of trying to have a bit of independence. Right now, if anything was a rubber stamp, that's what they are. There's really literally as if there's nothing there. And you've seen a National Assembly where the two leadership of the National Assembly go out there and constantly defend the policies of the executive. And let me tell you something, Shehu. The legislative arm of government is the bedrock of democracy. Yeah, they have oversight function. They make laws. They approve, appointments of people. They ratify treaties and all of that. And they're supposed to hold the executive accountable on behalf of the people. But what we have with Akpabio Senate and the other persons, the House of Representative, this thing that we have, leadership that we have, is that they don't do any of this. What they do rather is to speak and defend the executive. And I tell you something. When you have the three arms of government, right, the executive is supposed to be the weakest. Yes, there's separation of power, but in its way, the executive is supposed to be the weakest of them. But you know what, in Nigeria, it happens to be the strongest because they have money. The other ones, the judiciary and the National Assembly and the legislative arm have turned themselves into slaves in Nigeria. And if you want me to tell your opinion is in their leadership. They're always doing the things that the executive wants.
Let's ask you whether you can give us some transparency in some of the monies that have been put in your care. Yeah. Some dollars were being donated, were being given to the Labour Party campaign in donations for that election. What about the ones that? Which one are you aware of? The one
I'm aware of is the Obi Dati campaign. That I was one of the signatories.
How much went into that account?
I think we got about 560 something million, if you want me.
Dollars.
Million naira. Please, I'm looking for those dollars.
No, because we thought that there were foreign donations. The money that came out.
Even me, I'm looking for the foreign donations. Wherever they are.
Did Mr. Obi tell you about that?
I don't know whatever Mr. Peter Obi did or did not do. I know of the campaign that I was,
and you were a signatory to
its accounts. There are, I think we had four bank accounts. You understand, that are out there that were put together. And if you want me, I can bring up the papers and then we go through the figures exactly. The way they were. So this and the last time when we did, I think it was it January or February when we did a public, statement, putting out the accounting of the statement of account. One of the things that Mr. Peter Obi did say was that for those who said there were millions of dollars that were donated to us, please let them come and show us where these donations are. We would like to get them. I'm interested in getting those billions, because elections will come on again and we need those monies that people have donated. But what I can tell you is that from the accounts that we sourced for funds from people, what we got was, if I'm not mistaken, it's about 560 something million naira. And then Mr. Peter Obi himself brought in 800 million naira, which was towards we needed to pay for the polling unit agents and all of that. So all of these things I don't know. And every one of those kobo was accounted. And I'm going to tell you a very funny story, you understand. Sheon, one of the things that I'm very big on process. And you will hate me sometimes if you're on my team, because I insist if this is the way things have to be done, no matter how you want it to be done in another way, I'm not going to allow it. And so every kobo that entered that account, there was never a time that cash was taken out of that. Everything is transfer. And then people can check, and I'm sure they've already checked and rechecked, investigative journalists, the government or whatever, to see where every money went to. On the day of election, where we had about 1 point something billion that I was the one in charge of polling unit agents, because that has come up a lot. People have spoken about polling unit agents. And on the day of election, the bank where we had the money sent in someone to my house where we worked out on how to rejig the balance, the limit that I have, for that day. And part of the things that while we're checking it, he said to me, transfer 1,000. So let's see, transfer it to your account, you understand? And let's see whether it's working. I said to him, no, I'm not going to transfer anything to my account. How will it look like that? You transfer money from campaign money. He said, no, but it's just 1,000. And we're testing. I said, no, it's not just 1,000. It's a process. And I said to him, a lot of people who are accused of corruption, most times they don't take money. It's by subverting that process that you find yourself in that way. Imagine, for example, if Aisha had even done that. The next thing, Aisha carried money, whatever. And so those are little things that I'm very, very particular about. And nothing was that. And every money that was transferred from that account, you could see where it came from. And I'll tell you something. There were people who actually reported me to Mr. Peter Obi because I refused to collect money from anybody. There were people who called me, Aisha, we trust you. We know your money is not going to get missing. Let's donate the campaign let's give you some of the money, before even Peter Obi had set up his account for donation. And I can say this to you, it took Peter Obi a lot before he agreed to set up that campaign. I said there was a time I even called it that, like, look, Labour Party that are running their mouth now, Aburi ate food, he belly food, saying Aisha Yusufu moi. Now they call the name. I don't do little money. If I steal your $1 million, what will it buy me? 3 bags? 3 handbags? Is that what I'm stealing $1 million for? It will not buy me. There are some rings it will not buy for me. So for some of them that feel these monies are big monies and they are running their mouth, what they forget is that the Labour Party had their own account and they even started soliciting money from the public before we did. And I remember going to Peter Obi and I was like, you see, now we ought to have started our account and everything. It took a long time. We finally did it. Before we got those accounts, people that came to me, Aisha, no, we give. I said no. Until we set up an account, I'm not collecting anything. I'm not going to collect anybody's cash. I'm not going to help anybody to do anything. Every money that came went to the account. There is someone who even gave us, during the campaign, gave us aircraft, 1 or 2, I think an 80 or 100 and something seater, while we're doing that whole campaign. He had sent me and he gave me an envelope. He was giving me, I refused to collect it. He dropped it on the table, went to say, I picked that envelope. I went back to him and I dropped it. You understand? And then he was very angry, although that I'm disgracing. I said, no, it's my policy. I don't collect money from nobody. I don't. The only person I collect money from is my husband. No? And anything that is beyond his whatever, beyond his means or my means, I come out from it. Just wait. I have to round up this thing for you. And so he now said he was going to report me to Peter Obi. And indeed, when he saw Mr. Peter Obi, he reported me that, he gave me money. I refused to collect. Mr. Peter Obi, that's how Aisha is. So you see, like I told you earlier, I have a big mouth. And the big mouth is very physical and very figuratively. And because I want to use my big mouth, I don't collect nobody's money.
But are you also willing, because they said that the EFCC should probe you?
I've asked the EFCC. Look, the other time I said to them, I even reminded them, because after a month, they talk, and I even reminded them that Labour Party, please, you said EFCC should probe us. Have you sent petition to them? Because more Aisha Yusufu, I want EFCC to come. I've tagged EFCC several times. There's this thing in Nigeria where they do things because there are skeletons in cupboard. Me, I don't get skeleton for cupboard because my mouth too big. I go use my phone on top of myself. If there's anything, let everybody bring it out. I want to, because I want people to understand that you can do something and yes, they will smear you, but the smears, they will not stick anywhere.
You can say for yourself, but you can't say for Mr. Peter Obi.
I'm speaking for myself.
So, but you can't say for Mr. Peter Obi or any other person you work for.
For Mr. Peter Obi right
the
now?
Question I'm asking, because you said you worked with him.
Hold on. Am I doing interview for Mr. Peter Obi right now? You said you work with him. Am I doing interview for Mr. Peter Obi right now?
But you just said on this interview that you worked with.
My question, will not continue.
No, you are having an interview with me. But the question is,
no, I will get to your question.
Aisha Yusufu.
Exactly.
But Aisha Yusufu says she worked with Peter Obi.
Okay. And I told you I worked with Peter Obi, and that was why I took care of a particular campaign, the campaign donation accounts for the public that he did. I was one of the signatories, and Peter Obi was not even a signatory. Peter Obi did not have any say on the monies that came in from the public. The only say he had was on the 800 million naira that he brought, and when he asked for them to be used, so they used it in legal fee in giving the parties to settle polling unit agents, they did that. I've taken taking responsibility for that. What else do I need to take responsibility? I'm not taking responsibility for anything. And Peter Obi himself, like I said to you earlier, had come out to say to these people, can you please tell us where these monies are coming from? And I think the person you are referring to, I saw some people who said to me that, Aisha Yusufu, you should sue them for defamation. And I say, if I sue them, what will I get? Poverty? I need somebody with real money. God born anybody will be billionaire for Nigeria. Let them come out and say that Aisha took any this. Then I will go to court so that I know when the court case is finished, I will collect some money in their damages. Not the one that I'm going to go and spend millions of naira, spend 15 to 20 or 30 million naira on lawyers to carry you to court, and then you come and tell me that the whole of your worth is not up to 6 million naira. So that's what I'm waiting for. So there are accusations that I don't have any problem with accusation. There was something I wanted to say. You almost derailed me, and this is it. Most Nigerians feel that the only way you can show that you are clean or you're not like that is to stay away from anything and not do anything. I'm like, no. I will go in there, I will do it. And you will try to accuse me, you smear me. It cannot stick anywhere because I will follow the process, transparency, accountability. Everything had to be followed. Even Peter Obi himself, that had 800 million naira in that account, he knew that if he didn't follow the process that we had laid down for him to get the money, he was not going to get it. We had this thing, he has to call, verbal instruction, written instruction. There were times that he forgot one, he did the other one, he's on his own. Okay, when you tire finish, you will come back, because you know what? Process has to be followed. And I know a lot of Nigerians, don't understand what processing is. But there's a question you've not asked. Let me help you in answering it, even though you've not asked. There are people who have come to, we have a summary of the
account.
Wait, let me bring out that summary, right? Because so that we will. You
had it handy.
It's public now. If you go to my Twitter page and put it there, it's not something that I'm saying that it's not hidden. The account is not hidden. I've seen people who said, you don't have how many pages, whatever. The pages of account we gave them we handed it over to the person whose accounts we're managing, to the people we're managing their account, both pure and dirty. And then there's a summarized version, that was put out there for the public. So we have what the what do you call it, summarized version that we put there. Citizens' donation was 595,976,994 naira. That's what the citizens' donation that we got. And then 800 million naira was part of the things, that came in from Mr. Peter Obi. So the total was 1,395,976,994 naira. That was the total. And then we had expenses. We had campaign materials. We used 268,374,330 naira. Media and radio broadcasting, we used 16,422,867 naira. So what we did with the media, we're very focused. We didn't have huge pocket like other people, so we didn't focus on a TV adverts and go whatever. We did radios across the country. Bank charges 1,750,544 naira. Administrative expenses 475,000. Legal expenses 744,500,000. And then you had campaign and election activities 28,500,000. But there's one I kept aside, which is the polling unit agents expenses. We had 324,381,700 naira. I'm going to come to you on this. With the polling unit agents, when we did, I told you that on the day of polling unit agent, the bank had sent someone to my house to help me with this thing. Aisha Yusufu, I was the one that was in charge of polling unit agent payment for Peter Obi. The money we had budgeted about, our budget was like 1.4. We had about 130-something thousand polling unit agent, 1.4. On the day of election, we started with the payment. We had started giving. So before then, was it that money before then, when Labour Party finally gave us the list, because we kept insisting, give us the list, I didn't get it. We got it at less than 24 hours or 48 hours to election. And so when we got it, we sent messages to all the Labour Party agents and said, send in your account number. So account numbers came in. And then we started paying on the morning of the day of election. While we're paying, something was off. Remember, people were saying they were not seeing agents in this thing, something was, and so we decided to do a test run of calling different this thing. You call a number, maybe it's a male, female pigs, or it's a female and male pays, and like, what are you talking about? What are you doing? This thing. So Anna said, okay, you know what? Stop all payments. Yeah, I made that decision. And anybody want to say anything, I don't even care. So I go on. I kept receiving, the normal this thing they do. They say, oh, you're supposed to send 200 million to this, 400 million to that, this million to this, that they pay polling unit agents. I say, no, we are paying the polling unit agents. And I say, how? I said, by directly through their accounts. We'll pay them directly. Remember that election was when there was even that no cash, whatever. I said, so we'll do the transfer. That was even the first time that I knew that there was a bank's microfinance, whatever, or financial this thing that you could just use the person's phone number to open accounts and send them in. So there was a lot. If courts can kill somebody, I would have died on election day. Because the different this thing that, as one time my husband came to me and said, baby, are you sure these people will not say, let them not need to happen? They say it's because if I say whatever they will say, let them say. Because I've seen there are no polling units. So what we had was that the list that was given, the names that had been given before were swapped.
And they were populated with
fictitious names. And I'm saying this, and they've heard it, and I've said it before, they had fictitious names.
And this was coming from the Labour Party national headquarters.
From the Labour Party. I don't know whether it's the national headquarters or whatever headquarters, the Labour Party itself. And so, I said, no. We're not going to pay. Towards that, I couldn't reach Peter Obi. It was towards around evening, or maybe around 4 something, that Peter Obi called me on election day. I said, sir, see what's going on. The list that we're giving, it's mostly fictitious. But apparently what they wanted, they've done that to other parties also. Even with these elections that have been going on, this is what parties do. So they always tell you that, oh, you're not supposed to ask questions. And I was told that, oh, but we don't ask questions. You just said, I said, no, we want to build a new Nigeria. Not the Nigeria where you just send money anyhow. This is someone's hard-earned money that he's bringing in for us to pay polling unit agent. And so when I spoke to him, he said, Aisha, I said, don't worry, keep my money. And so that's why you will see from this list that we have 324,381,700 that was paid to polling unit agents. The one that we directly paid was around 20-something. I think it was at 24 million. And I've seen a lot of people who have come out to say that, oh, you only paid, I think 2,000 something. I can't remember how many. I think there were 2,000 agents of you. Oh, you paid 2,000 agents with 300 and something million. That means it's like, no. What then happened before, because I stopped the payment, and I'll give you an example. We were in a meeting where we're talking about all of these things. And then someone said to me, Aisha, how did you think that you will stay in Abuja and you are able to coordinate the agent that is in Sokoto? I said, through his phone number. Because remember, INEC gave everything. Everybody's name had to come with phone number, pictures and all of that. And the person was quiet. And then he now said to me, Aisha, some of these agents cannot read and write. And I said, if the agents cannot read and write, how did they become our polling unit agents? There was silence. I have a big mouth because I insist on doing the right thing. In the year 2000, what's it called? NYC overpaid me with about 8,000 something. 8,000 was big money. I returned that money. Even when NYC didn't want me to, I have the letter that I wrote and gave them. I kept my comment. Unfortunately, I didn't give them to that signing. I didn't realize I should have done that. They fought me. Everybody called me all sorts of names. I returned it. That's how many years ago? 24 years ago when I did my youth service. And so if at that time I had taken that money, you think I will have mouth to talk today? I have mouth to talk today because I know I follow process. So when we did that, so what now happened with this 300 million that people are saying? When the election was done and everything, they were talking, okay, polling unit agent, the parties were saying this. Peter Obi now decided he was going to send to the different party, states, whatever. We sent those funds. That's what we spent. I think it was about 300 million. Yeah, I think that's 300 million that was sent to all of them to say, okay, settle the agents that did this thing. And so that was it. So some people that come out to say, oh, they only pay 2,000 with it. No, it's not. And so for me, every dime that I'm under, and remember, this is not my first time of being in a campaign, this thing. I was of Dr. Obi Ezekwesili. And we came out and we gave everything. When I did the one of Dr. Obi Ezekwesili, she wasn't a signatory. And we accounted for every dime. The same thing with Peter Obi. Peter Obi was not a signatory to that account that was collected. We accounted for every dime. I know Nigerians are not used to it. They are looking for people who are looking for millions from some politicians. Say what's happened. But with Sir Peter Obi, 1 naira has never exchanged hands between me and him. He knows it.
Let me ask you quickly. With what is happening in the Labour Party, are you, because there must be a vehicle for the man you believe could get into office. Are you worried about that vehicle, the Labour Party, the leadership issue, and all of the mess that is going on? Does that hurt you in some way?
I'm worried about the political classes in general, and this is something that has always happened. Whether it's Labour Party, APC, PDP, whatever it is, there's always this tussle that happens. And for me, I always take responsibility of things. I don't wait and blaming, because if you blame other people, that means the solution can only be in those people's hands. But if you take responsibility, that means you will be able to now profile solutions. And one of the things I've always said is that we must join parties. I'm also as guilty. I haven't joined any party. And staying out of the way, we can't stay out of the way and say, oh, this is the way parties is going on. What is going on in Labour Party is disheartening. And I'm glad the fact that there's a way out where with the NENADI, the new NENADI-led team, you could see there is the thinking, big thinking. There's something they call the law of the lead, where there's no organization that can go beyond the thinking of the leadership. And so we had the leadership in Labour Party before, the Abure-led leadership that cannot...
the court has reinstated it.
Okay, yeah, and then there's an appeal going on, right? And so the former Labour Party chairman,
Julius
Abure, couldn't think beyond just that, holding that office. Couldn't see the fact that you can actually be the party in power and be able to effect a lot of changes, doing, their small local champion. And I didn't blame them. Like even during the election, where there was a lot of issues, I said to people, Labour Party was jejely playing its Nigerian league. And then you took them to Premier League. So, of course, there's going to be a problem. And so they have not even up to now been able to get in there. But there's a current leadership in place, the caretaker committee led by Nenadi, Madam Nenadi Usman, that you could see there's a way, there is a vision, there's a way out here. And I look forward to them, getting the everything well worked out. And also Nigerians removing that conditioning that we've had for years, where they told us that politics is dirty. There's nothing dirty about politics. Politics is true where elected officials come in. And so therefore, every one of us must be invested. For too long, we've left the political space for people who are jobless, who don't have job, who you need it to survive. We need to have people there that have second jobs, that don't need politics to survive, so that they'll be able to make those hard decisions.
Quickly, there are those who think maybe Peter Obi could be a deputy or vice to a Rabi Kwankwaso. Well, Rabi Kwankwaso. Why the hysteria? Because Rabi Kwankwaso believes that he's better.
Rabi Kwankwaso should calm down.
He said he's better academically than Peter Obi.
I said calm down. You know what Rabi Kwankwaso did? Aisha Yusufu, I did a video. I think it's like, if I'm not mistaken, it's more than 10, 15 minutes or maybe 20 minutes video during that 2022 election. And I said to Rabi Musa Kwankwaso in that video, look, this should be about Nigeria. This should be about good governance. It shouldn't be about someone, me or whatever. At the time that election was going to happen, Buhari had just come, who was from the northwest, and then you're saying you're Muslim, and you're saying you too, you want to come and take in. At the end of the day, it shouldn't matter wherever somebody's region is from. Do what you need to do. And in terms of geographical spread, Peter Obi had better geographical spread than Kwankwaso. So at least even the election, the results that INEC finally decided, you can still say, but he didn't feel it. And I said, look, Biden was vice to Obama, even though Obama he was younger. It didn't matter. What matters is that how do you move the country forward? How do you ensure that your people don't end up suffering? And then Kwankwaso felt that, he wanted to do it. And I saw one interview where he said he's a civil engineer. He's, how old did he say he was? He has a PhD. He has a PhD in engineering.
A former minister, a former senator, a former governor. Don't you think those political and that profile maybe is towering than that of Mr. Peter Obi? You don't think Mr. Peter Obi could be a deputy to Kwankwaso going forward?
If Mr. Peter Obi is a deputy to Kwankwaso, I can tell you that Aisha Yusufu, will work against that ticket in whatever capacity I can. That is legitimately and constitutionally allowed. Because it's enough of the nonsense we have done over the time in this country, where we continue to put the best food last.
So you think Peter Obi is better than the Kwankwaso?
It's better than Kwankwaso. So let's calm down, I beg. It's not about this thing. It's not about that you sponsored people to go, what do you call it, abroad to go and get education. During the election, every time Kwankwaso is always entering plane where it was his pilots that have done this thing. Where is Kanu when you were talking about education, the hierarchy of education? Yes, we sponsor some people there. Where are all of those things? So as far as I'm concerned, you understand, and that's my own opinion. Somebody else might be different. For somebody else, it might be the other way. Peter Obi is way better, and we should not be in a place where we are putting, how do you put it? We're putting our best foot backward.
If Peter Obi decides, if Peter Obi decides to be a deputy, would you still support him?
No, I said I'll work against you. Know they have a they talk.
No, even if it's not for Rabi Kwankwaso, if he deputizes,
if he deputizes for anybody, whether Atiku anybody, more Aisha Yusufu, I will work for against them. He were. Now by first say go enter there. You never tell us all this time what we do with the kind of person we know.
So it's Peter Obi or nothing?
No, it's not Peter Obi or nothing. You asked me a question before. If there's anyone, if on the ticket there's anyone better than Peter Obi, whether
maybe an Obi.
Obi Ezekwesili. Anytime, any day.
Above Peter Obi.
Before, Dr. Obi Ezekwesili has it. You understand? Nigerians might not, with their Nigerian way of, they want the one that will be sweet talking them. Policy, everything, number one. You asked me, and I said, even the Peter Obi has said he's not desperate to be president, but he's desperate to see Nigeria work. Let me tell you something. In 2015, I voted Buhari. I voted Buhari because of Professor Yemi Osinbajo. I've never been a candidate of Buhari. Even 2014, no, I think October 2014 or September, the tweets are still there. You can always bring them up my tweet. I said Buhari cannot win election in Nigeria. After what happened with the 2011, riots that happened, that he could have at least said a word. Not all them. It was all over the northern part of the country. Bauchi was where they killed those coppers. People were killed. I was living in Kaduna at that time, and I said he could have said a word to put a stop to it, which was the same thing that people wanted Peter Obi to have done in 2023. I said no, he's not going to do that. And then I felt he can never. I didn't vote for Buhari in 2011. Is it 2011? Yeah, I didn't vote for Buhari in 2011. I didn't vote for Jonathan in 2011. Fact, they were not this. I voted for, what's his name? Nuhu Ribadu. And today, as I'm speaking to, if Nuhu Ribadu is running for council, I will not vote for him.
Why not?
Because he hasn't shown he has a character.
But let me ask you quickly.
So no, let me finish before you ask me. Let me finish this one. So because of that, I have seen what it is to vote, and that was why, if you remember, they said, and Buhari's case was someone who will always delegate. Buhari never does the work. Whether as well, I was 10 years old when he took over in December 1983. I turned 12 on the 12th of December. I turned 10 on the 12th of December 1983. Buhari took over on the 31st of December 19. I'm aware of that, at the jubilation on the streets and everything. He delegated to Idiagbo. When he was what's the name of PTF chairman, he delegated to that something consortium. That the acronym was APC. And then so we knew he has always used to delegate it. When he came, he did delegate, but he didn't delegate to Osinbajo. I remember that was always say, oh, Osinbajo will take care of the economy, he will take care of security because of the insecurity that was rife, the attack on democracy and everything, the impunity from PDP's led government at that time. And we decided with these people, okay, let's try change. And I kept saying, no, if they don't work, we vote them out again. Unfortunately, Nigerians didn't go there. So I've seen what it is. You vote for a deputy. There's nothing there. There's no whatever. They just put them by the side. I will support Peter Obi to go and be somebody.
So quickly, do you think that Peter Obi should step out of Labour Party? Because it does look like the mess in Labour Party and the cobweb of crisis is entangling. Do
I think? So I don't have a stake in Labour Party to be able to make that decision. But I will say to you, if Peter Obi had run as an independent candidate, if Nigerian laws allowed independent candidates, nobody would have been able to rig that election. Nobody. The biggest one of this thing where we had, and I even said it even as far back as 2022, when you were talking about the weakness and threat, was actually the party itself. And the way it has been behaving, it hasn't done well. But Peter Obi has been one person who feels he wants to get things to work, not just to move on, and I respect that decision. But I would say if Peter Obi today decides that he's going to go out, start a new party, I mean, there are millions of Nigerians who are actually waiting for that. The Labour Party has sort of like, been a threat or a weakness, should I say, in the whole thing. But we'll see how it goes. But at the end of the day, it's about the fact that he has remained the way he is. He has shown that He's not just a flash in a pan kind of a person, but he's staying on with the people, hearing the people, being the president that Nigerians voted for, and just they're giving hope to Nigerians that are fast losing hope.
On a final note, as a Nigerian and someone who has the love of the country at heart, though the government is saying, look, some of our policies may bring some immediate hardship, but in the long run, it will benefit the people. And they make comparison of countries in the world where policies have gone in this direction. What kind of hope message are you able to give Nigerians today as to how great our country could be, and in a present situation, the kind of perseverance they should be able to muscle?
Nigeria has everything to be great, and God has given us everything we need to be a great nation. And so when I see people praying for Nigeria to solve our problem, I say God will not do for us what he has given us capacity for us to do for ourselves. There's a whole of great hope in Nigeria, but it's disingenuous of this administration to say that they have put policies in place that on the long run are going to yield results. They haven't. And most times you see, if you're talking about people suffering, why is it that those that are in government aren't suffering? Why is it that they're wasting so much of taxpayers' money that it's not there to be wasted? But for me, the message that I would say to Nigerians is that we have a great nation, an amazing nation, and we have everything. Our unity, our diversity, they are all opportunity for us to excel and be there. And one of the things we must understand is that we must take part in politics. In 2018, I came to that realization that politics must be everybody's business. And like Dr. Obi Ezekwesili has repeatedly said, that we must fix politics to fix Nigeria, because that is where the people who are going to govern us, come in. And one of the things we must do is to forget about, our differences in terms of religion, in terms of tribe, gender, age, and all of that, and focus on the fact that we need to have accountability, transparency, and good governance, and to get ourselves going. And on the final note, I will say to every Nigerian that, look, if you go to any part of Nigeria and you take away the dressing and you take away the language, we all look similar. The air of poverty is the same. The untarred roads, the fact that access to good quality education is dependent on the economic status of one's family, the fact that we don't have good healthcare services, the fact that there's a lot of unemployment, the fact that, roads aren't good, people are suffering. So those are things that unite us. Why don't we unite and solve all of these problems and have a great nation? Then we can ask ourselves, who are we? Thank you.
Ms. Aisha Yusufu, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure talking to you, albeit sometimes we disagree because...
It's a disagreement is okay.
Let
me just say something on that.
And I love the disagreement.
No,
even when you don't agree to something, at the end of the day, they say that I get coconut head. I know they hear what.
That's how it is. And even my husband, when he came to propose to me, I said to him, I don't like housework and I'm always sick. And he still married me and I'm here enjoying myself.
Many thanks to Mr. Yusufu. He's doing a great job.
No, he's an amazing human being. Oh my God.
So you are not the kind of independent woman who don't need men.
No, I need my husband. Like I came in here, I'm very lazy. Sometimes my husband will look at me and say, if I die, how will you cope? I say, better don't die. Sit down here and look after me.
So you are not an independent woman.
No,
you are dependent too.
No, I'm dependent in that case. Yeah, very much so. For me, I don't do anything. I don't cook. I don't do the house. I don't know the car. Like I will just sit there. They will fill the tank for me. Drive car. I don't even know how to open. I had to struggle today to open my bonnet. I don't have any.
And you are the type. If Mr. Yusufu marries a second wife, how do you cope?
I actually asked him to marry a second wife.
Really?
Yeah. Years ago, I used to tell him until he said to me, "It seems as if you don't love me," and so that was why I stopped. Because my husband, like sometimes people say that the kind of love we have, sometimes it's a bit scary. If I'm not around, if I travel, my husband is always like, like he said, he doesn't even sleep well. He's always down and stuff like that. Even the kids say it. Wow. So I'm always like, go and marry another one. Me, I want to travel. But there's something that I said, let me put it on air. And I've said to a lot of my friends, if I die before my husband, ensure that 6 months, not more than 6 months, you should have another wife. I don't want him to follow me and our children will lose everybody.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
We have a great love.
It's such a lovebird.
Oh, yeah, we are.
Thank you so much indeed. It's always a pleasure seeing this other side of you. A lot of people don't know that. Oh, wow.
Yeah, they do love.
Love wanting to. Thank you so much. And that's our conversation with Miss Aisha Yusufu. And I hope that one way or the other, You loved it, you disagree. But one thing about this whole conversation is about the fact that our nation is at the heart of it. Thanks so much, everyone, for being part of today's Micron podcast. I'm Sean Walking. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.